you. Well, it's been many years since Australia's had a car-making industry. Of course, the car makers left when the subsidies ended in this country, eventually, finally packing up shop a few years ago. But perhaps we could re-enter the fold making car batteries. And it might be more lucrative than you think in the electric vehicle era. Joining me now is Industry Minister Ed Husic, who's in Singapore and has been in Indonesia. Thanks very much for your time. So it's been spruiked as the PM as a possible partnership with Indonesia. It's a big car-making nation. Is that our future, and how big could this industry be, car battery manufacturing in Australia?
Thanks, Tom. Well, obviously, being here in Singapore and also working with our friends in Indonesia, I mean, both are great friends. We have shared ambitions, and particularly around manufacturing in new ways. The Indonesians are very focused on manufacturing EV vehicles, and I've visited some of those production facilities while I was in Jakarta. But we can work together with our critical minerals. We possess a lot of lithium, they possess a lot of nickel. They're very keen in us working together, and if we get processing and manufacturing right, it's good for lower emissions and more jobs for both countries. And these are the type of things that were discussed when the leaders met in Sydney in early July, and we haven't wasted time. I'm here as a result of those discussions that we had in Sydney between the Indonesian President and Prime Minister Albanese back in early July, and meeting with ministers here. We're looking at how we can take that further, how we can work out how we can manufacture batteries that we need for various reasons, both in Australia and Indonesia.
So manufacturing in both countries. For it to happen in Australia, would we be talking about significant government subsidies? Is that needed in your view?
At the moment, I'm in the process of developing the national battery strategy to see how we can scale up, how we can lean into various parts of the battery value chain. We do really well on mining and refining. We've got to take those extra steps in processing and manufacture. And so we're working through that, and we hope to release that in due course. And things like the National Reconstruction Fund, providing critical growth finance in areas like this. We've got a target fund in the National Reconstruction Fund, about $3 billion, to see what we can do on zero or low emissions technology. And we also want to value add in resources, which is also a separate target fund of the National Reconstruction Fund. We want to make sure that businesses who step forward have got a sustainable game plan. They can deliver return on investment for the taxpayer, and that we build something that's long lasting in the economy. So, we're looking at the financing arrangements, but we want them to be able to stand on their own 2 feet and deliver what's needed for the economy, both here and potentially as export opportunities offshore.
Okay. So you're talking about being able to access those loans, but not something that would only work with subsidies. It would have to stand on its own 2 feet, the industry.
Yeah, we are going through the process of looking at what we need to do to support growing our capability onshore. And that can be a mix, just as we've seen with the Clean Energy Financing Corporation and ARENA in that renewable energy space, where we can then build on that further in areas of critical need, like, for example, energy storage systems. It's not just about cars, Tom. It's about making sure that we've got storage systems for homes, for businesses, for industry at larger scale, and there'll be different things that are being considered or worked on in universities, in research that we've got to commercialise. How do we have something that keeps those firms along their development timeline so that we can build capability in Australia? That's going to need a mix of things. It may be grants, it may be some of the concessional finance. How we get that together is going to be really important, but we can't miss the opportunity to ensure that we build that capability onshore. Australians are expecting it.